people. And if you're watching live, checking us out on YouTube, or listening on your favorite podcast provider, you are most definitely my people. Welcome to another episode of Botch Pots and Chair Shots. I'm your host, a chef by trade and a mark by choice. I am the Will Gray, and joining me tonight is an indie star tearing up the historic Northeastern indie scene. He is the concrete dragon, Tristen Thai. Tristen, thanks for coming on back on to chat about some wrestling with me, brother. How are you?
No, thank you, man. I appreciate you, man. Always. I'm
Man,
excited to
I
do
was
this.
I was really looking forward to this. I just re-listened to our first conversation, got a feel for what it was like, and we said at the end of it, like we're gonna have to do it again because we felt like we
Oh
were
yeah.
cutting ourselves short. So here we are. We're live. It's been a long year for both of us. We both had a lot going on. So let's start at the top. Everything that you've done since about this time last year. Let's put it all in a big list in your head
Oh
right
man.
off the rip. What's the coolest thing you've done since the last time we hung out?
Oh man. Man. It's weird, right? Like it. I've learned a lot about being able to compartmentalize like my emotions with things in terms of like having personal goals with things and then having professional goals and trying to find like where they cross, where they're different. Um, so a personal and professional goal that it really cross paths is the beginning and start and the flourishing of Remarkable Wrestling. Now, this is a company started from my trainer who, his goal was to one day, just have his own school, have his, I don't know if how it, if it was the ultimate goal to develop into a promotion. Um, but it's something that I love seeing him win in different ways, not just vicariously through, myself and Gabe, Bufa, Percy Ryan, but having him not stop, seeing that fire still be there. That man Kono Kapucha, he taught me everything, but not just the wrestling side of it. I probably mentioned last time, just like the whole balance of it all, like having a family, having goals within that world, and then being able to still love wrestling regardless if you how much you do it, how much you watch, and not let the fire burn out, because I do see a lot of burnout with wrestling, especially after the pandemic. There's so many people that I came up with, or that even just cross paths with in locker rooms, that we just don't see as much anymore as often. And I took that as a real way to kind of see, like, what what are the major accomplishments that I want to create and I want to accomplish. So to make a great short question longer than it has to be for an answer, it would be Remarkable Wrestling and everything that comes with it. So that's wrestling with my peers who I came up with, training with, people that we brought on to shows that have been a huge part of my career, as just in terms of just coming up and meeting people and being able to kind of, I don't want to say return the favor, but have a full circle to where we could have the platform to showcase certain matches that we don't always get to see on the indies, and a lot of matchups we've always wanted. And we're not that we're in control, because it is Kono's show, but I do love that he appreciates our opinions on things, on people, on places, because we're in it. We're in it. So we know who we want to do business with. We know who ups the locker room morale and boosts the motivation to always be better, to always, no matter how many fans are out there. And we've been doing so well with turnout on crowds that it's only gonna get bigger from here. So I think being able to do that, and I think also having Kono have that, that luxury of knowing that not only did he put his time and effort into students that care and love wrestling like he does, but he lucked out and got three of the best independent wrestlers in the country. You know what I mean? And then
That doesn't hurt.
I say that humbly, but I say that very humbly, because I know how much work we put in. But the fact that, like, he gets to experiment with us, with that talent, and have us be so hungry for certain spots and certain, again, opportunities to try different things that we don't always get to. So places like TPW, where we've been getting, a large platform, a large audience, a new audience, and trust of a promotion that I believe is going to, go to the moon. Like the way that these guys, the way that, their staff handles it, how professional they are, how they been able to cross their audiences from their streams to, on YouTube, and all the way, to wrestling. Um, but it's still a platform we always feel like me and Gabe have to always prove ourselves at, that we always have to one up ourselves in, not, and that doesn't mean jumping off 40-story balconies. We mean with connection with the fans, making an impression on, and so with Remarkable, we get a chance to do more promos, do more videos, experiment more in our matches, have more freedom of time, and learning how a show really operates inside and out on all levels: camera, audio, you know, um, streams, all revenue from it. That's all, picking a venue, promotion. That's things that we get that we don't have in a lot of other promotions. And it's wonderful to kind of experience that, because I look at it as like, I could buy a supermarket, but until I push a cart, I'm not really going to understand the ins and outs of what's going on. So I think that's something where um, all of us involved have gotten so much better over this last year, man. Like everywhere, from mentality to, diet to, sleep cycles to family time and travel and things like that, packing a bag, like all these things we've been excelling at. And this year, man, we're really taking over, and it's not even summer yet. It's crazy.
So looking at Remarkable, a chef by trade and mark by choice. You and I have talked about it. I was a chef for 15 years before I ever got into the silly world of journalism. Being an
Wow.
executive chef and then going and opening your own restaurants, two very different things. What was it
Yeah.
like being a pro wrestler, but then also being a pro wrestler helping start a promotion from the ground up? What was it like going into that mentally, like getting over the hurdles of keeping that balance together that we've talked about?
Dude, it's exciting and frustrating on so many different levels, and humbling. Like when you start off, and you think, we're above the rest. It's gonna do fine, and that's kind of the mentality that I try to walk with, respectfully, to where I want to feel like the man. I want Gabe to feel like the man. I want everyone who I'm around to feel like they're the shit, So when you think that, it's got to come with some strategy and some reasoning too, because when you know and we look and see that there's not as much pre-sales as we expected there to be. Now you think, oh man, this area sucks, blah blah blah. Like, no, because if you draw, you draw. And that's a thing where, what can we do on the outside, independence, to draw those eyes to wherever we go, they follow. And I think that was the biggest thing where, I can be dope in the moment, but how can I make people wake up the next day and still think about that moment? I look at it like almost like getting advice from a parent or a coach or somebody, or like a big brother, and they tell you something and you sleep it off and you do the same bullshit the next day. It's only a handful of people that talk to you in a certain manner where you wake up and you live different from then on out. People who touch you. And then with Remarkable, that's something that we want to do. We want to be able to touch fans in a different way, where they see this as a promotion of the hardest workers in the world. I don't care if they're here for one time and they're gone. They know when they come in here, it's not just we're putting a bunch of guys together. We never want to feel we've worked too hard to go down in that. In terms of reputation, in terms of respect from fans and peers. So like guys like ACH, I mean, guys like, I mean, like Jordan Oliver, you got Miracle Generation, you got Fight or Die, you got so many guys in between, like all states, all levels, all exposure, and coming to under this one brand. And then when you see these certain people, it's like how when we used to watch shows, like you go to an indie show and you don't know anybody, you're probably not going to care that much about the card unless somebody stands out. But if you already see, like, I don't know, you see like Alex Shelley's name on the card, right? You can know nobody else, you're going to that show. And what can we do to where if they see our name on a show, no matter what the title is, it could be, it could be Dipshit Federation. And if they're like, oh, well, yeah, man, that's a crazy name, but oh, Tristen Thai is there. Oh, Gabe Sky's there. Oh, Desmond Cole. Oh shit, we got to pull up to this. That's what we want to do. It's right now, especially when we first started it, or even like in the beginning of the year, where it was kind of like we felt it too on certain shows. We'd be like, oh man, this card looks crazy. Oh, and look, Tristen Thai is going to be on there. That's cool. It's a nice little bonus, as opposed to, no, I'm calling off work because Tristen Thai's wrestling and I gotta go. So that's where, I think that's the goal. That's the goal of everybody, though, right? And that's the main thing that we were trying to make Remarkable represent, is where it wasn't so much us getting over as much as it was getting the promotion over because we were there. Um, and then we've seen, the growth of it all has been just, it's been wild, man. Like I can't even put into it's really hard to put into words of what this place has become, what it's going to be, what it can be. And we have, our show this Saturday. You know what I'm saying? Like it's again, we're hitting it again, and crazy matches coming up. Now we're crossing people again. They talk about crossing promotions and crossing platforms of talent. Like Gabe's wrestling Channing Thomas for the Remarkable World Title. Like that's a wild matchup that I've been waiting to see, and we've been waiting for Limitless to book it. We've been waiting for Beyond to book it. And it's like let's we can do it. I'm taking on Rex Lawless. This is another person, Northeast. Like you mean like he's incredible, and something, a match that I've always wanted, and now it's something that we can make happen and do it our way. And it's a really cool thing, especially when things get kind of boring, or not boring, but like stale, or stagnant in wrestling, or this kind of brings it back to where it's almost like we're playing GM mode, but with the experience of being able to understand that, the business and respect it so much differently. So it's cool to kind of make your own thing.
So let's get into it, man. You and Gabriel, above the rest. You guys have been together for about 4 years now, give or take a little
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah.
Um,
On and off, man. Yeah.
how right now, if you look, you just rattled off so many great names in that northeastern like territory. What's up, Al? Thanks for stopping by. If you look at everybody in that northeast territory, everybody you just rattled off, how is it now, 4 years in with you and Gabe? Like, what are you guys doing to stand out in such a stacked, like, talented division?
It's crazy, man, because we weren't supposed to be a tag team. That's what's crazy. Like we were, back in 2018, we were doing, CDW Dojo Wars, which is, at the time it was, they're kind of, try out little position there. We had, shows weekly, and it was great, but I don't remember what happened. It was kind of like, basically we all came in the same car together, so automatically we were a group. And then and then it was like, okay, we have too many people here tonight. We're gonna just make tag matches. Okay, you Gabe, you and Tristan, you guys are gonna just tag tonight. And it happened. And for some reason, our chemistry was just off the charts for no reason at all. Like we never practiced it before. I was still, we were both very green still at the time, and it was just like, why is this work? And that act itself, above the rest, we didn't even really have a name just yet. But again, shout out to Kono. That's his thing. He's a cut above the rest. Kono Kapucha. He's the originator. I feel like a lot of ways there's extra fire there for us to make him proud, using his name and representing his teachings and stuff. Um, but then, that act itself brought us to the CCW main roster, which again gave, you know, um, me the courage to join Gabe on this journey of trying out for Beyond Wrestling, and that turned out great. And now again, it started off as singles. So, and because we started off as singles, we were still trying to find our ways, find our place, find our way to kind of catch on. And to be honest, we didn't really do that well in the singles on our first run. Like we weren't getting matches that we felt that we were respectable, or when we went out there, we felt like the crowd was like, oh, I wonder how this guy's going to beat Gabe or Tristen today. There was never a back and forth, and it kind of, obviously it rubbed us the wrong way. But again, not at a promoter, not at a fan, at us, and be like, okay, what do we got to do differently? Then I got signed to MLW, kind of really started to feel out on my own. But because I was doing that, Gabe was like, well, I got to do my thing. And he was already doing his thing, but then he started really taking off as a singles guy, really honing his craft, working on getting bigger, getting meaner, his gas tank is ridiculous, and his vision is just like. So him doing that, me getting a different type of exposure, me getting a different type of learning tree, sitting under with these legends and these current, crazy guys that I respect so much, like the Alex Hammerstones of the world, Fatu, even people that would come back and forth in, Conan, and Steamboat and Ricky Morton, like these guys. I mean, guys that like I would never.
Legends.
I had no business rubbing shoulders with that early. But because of that, I'm not going to just sit here and be like, oh man, I shouldn't be here. It's kind of like, no, I'm here because I am supposed to be here because they wouldn't make a mistake like that. So let's learn. So I take those lessons. He takes lessons that he learned from like the extreme indies, with high profile, large fan base, a lot of streams, IWTV and things. So I mean the GCWs, the Beyond, the VXS, all those, and we got a call, especially after my injury. It was definitely a confidence booster where I didn't feel maybe confident. First of all, I can lean on this guy, my best friend, who has been killing it, so I feel safe. And we had a tag match against Miracle Generation. It's on YouTube now. From I want to say New Year's Eve 2019, 2021. Holy shit, yeah. And then Beyond was like, oh, because we haven't been there in a long time either. So they said, okay, we'll bring you guys in, but we're gonna have you guys tag. And we had not only did we have match of the night, we maybe had, like, with the Uncharted Territory tournament, we probably had the best match of the Uncharted Territory ever in that season. And to come full circle for the fact that the first Uncharted Territory, he was on episode 1, I was on episode 2, nothing really came for it. We knocked it out of the park and said, okay, now let's run with it. Beyond kept bringing us back. They believed in us since day one, never stopped. Really started to hone our craft as the tag. Then boom, we speak things in fruition. We say we gotta get to Limitless next. Next thing you know, Limitless calls. Hey, we won above the rest. Crazy. Then another goal said, okay, we want DPW. I've been seeing it. He's been seeing it. They call. And it's the way that we wanted it to be. We don't want to kiss feet, wait on a doorstep with, in a line with a bunch of other guys that don't, I don't want to say don't put the work in, but there's a level of matureness to doing business that I don't see a lot in wrestling. And I keep that sometimes very private. I talk to my circle about it, but it's more so how I see the vision of saving your body, making everything count. It's not about, it's not how many, it's what, it's who and where. I'm very big on that. And I know that's not always popular with the boys, but it is something that I truly believe in, that has honestly worked for me, has worked for me. So I can't say that it's not right or wrong. But being able to speak things into fruition like this gave us the confidence to know that we got a good thing going, and we can still function as singles and just take what we've learned from the tag. And then it's just just the accumulation of every different type of match, every type of different scenario, and just stacking that knowledge on top, which again brings us to Devin, where like Desmond Cole, where it's like he's gonna be so mad that I put his government out there again, but he is somebody who we saw and was like, where the hell has he been and why is he not with us? And it was I think when we woke up, because he wasn't Big Boof all the time, and he'll tell you that the two, where he was still in that searching of who am I know who I am, but who am I to them? And the best part about that was that we were dealing with that. Gabe was kind of working on monikers and kind of how he wanted to come across a little bit. He was figuring it out, and I was trying to figure it out too. And one day he just says, I'm the strong spirit. And I'm like, that's dope. I said, I see that. That makes, you don't have to explain that to me. I see that. And then I was like, yo, I'm a concrete dragon. He was like, hell yeah, you are. And then we had a long talk with Devin about certain things and talked about his skill sets, talks about what he brings to the table, why he's different. He's he's an amateur break dancer. The way his body control is unreal. Like, you're talking about like that is the elite level of body control, right? Like what he can do, how safe he can be, how smart he is. Like that is, I mean, that's God given too, but he is a needle in a haystack for sure. And we found him. And we were like, yo, this is the way. Like, you start listening to Kono, things are going to start changing, I promise you, because now we're kicking it up, and we don't want to just do this on the weekends. We're trying to feed families with this. So if you're on that wave, you got to step here. But if you're not, it's okay. It's nice knowing you, type of deal, And he was like, oh no, I'm on board. And because of that, we just try to bring everybody up, but through our work, not just talking about it. Through the decisions that we make in the ring and outside of the ring too. If I'm talking about, investing and talking about trying to just make some equity out of something, out of wrestling before, the crazy, exposure and money and all that stuff comes. Um, that means that I'm doing it myself. I'm not just going to tell you to throw your money away because it sounds good. I'm going to be like, no, this is what I did. Not saying you have to do the same thing, but this is what I'm talking about, and it's worked for me. If we're talking about, the gym, we always make sure we're on top of each other. Everybody, life happens, right? So things happen. Gabe's got naturally a six pack whenever he wants. You know what I'm saying? Like, me, but at the same time, he knows he's got to put the work in, and he does it tenfold. He does more cardio than someone trying to lose 30 pounds would do, because he knows that once you get comfortable, people are starting to pass you by. So, and then Devin working his ass off for a diet. Then we get other people on it. Percy Ryan, who I think you'd have a great conversation with. He's someone who is getting it so much based off of just being around us and being in that environment. That's the thing, man. It takes a village. But you gotta trust it though, so we weed out the weak and we keep the strong, and that's what's been working for our little unit. I suppose now I actually just got a message. I think we just got a match announced, the three of us, me, Gabe, and Desmond, for I believe ETU wrestling in the summer. And I don't want to. I mean, it's not a spoiler because they put it out there, but I'm hoping that it's us three versus the SATs, which is a dream match in itself.
Yeah.
Just Northeast New York stuff. But not only that, that's again a dream match for Kono. Have ATR and SAT go at it. That's something that this is, yeah, man. Wrestling's dope, man. It's frustrating as hell sometimes because it's so weird, but it's so crazy when it works like this. That's like want to play ball in your garden. You're guarding LeBron. You know what I mean? Like you're like, what? I had you. I had your. You know what I'm saying? I had your poster. I watched you and you're playing with them. This is like being like, yo, this is New York wrestling right here. You know what I mean? So it's dope, man.
When you look at that territory, one of the tag teams you mentioned is Miracle Generation, going all the way back to the Uncharted days up until recently, just in March. You guys had a 15-minute banger of a tag team match for the IWTV tag titles. What's it like kind of growing up in the business with such another great tag team like Miracle Generation? Because it's been back and forth with you guys. Anything you can do, I can do better. And it's just one stack right after the other going back and forth. What's it like between the four of you?
Dude, I'm gonna say the six of us, because it's weird, man. They're like the New England version of Above the Rest in terms of come up and finding. So you got the Miracle ones, you got the Miracle Generation, right? You got Dustin Waller, Kyle King, and you got Ichiban. Ichiban is like Devin in the sense where the things he does doesn't make sense sometimes. How he can move.
He's a beast.
He's insane. And I want to get a quick shout out to him because I know he just got a nice little spot with MLW right now. They announced that he's going to be participating at the ECW arena, and I just couldn't be more happier for him, because sometimes, like, Miracle Generation is the show. Miracle Ones is the name. So for him to get his just due is dope to see, because it's I want to say long overdue, because we earn it when it's time. But he's definitely worked his ass off to get these opportunities. So we the six of us have gotten very close because of that, where we have very similar mindsets to how we look at the business, how we look at each other, how we look at friendship and the importance of things. And then again, once you have crazy matches with people, like I think our 6-man is on YouTube as well, where it was me, Desmond, and Gabe versus the Miracle Ones at Beyond, and we went crazy. That match was insane.
You guys had the War Games match too, didn't you?
And we had the War Games match where we beat the hell out of each other, but we were all pretty much on the same side except for Devin, because Desmond, goddamn, he's gonna kill me. I'm
just gonna keep clipping it and just put a big string together through the whole interview of how many times you used his name.
No, if you do it, even if you don't put it on here, send it to me, because I'm gonna send it to him. But yeah, it just when you click with people, it's just magic. It is. When you understand each other and when you trust each other, it's just absolute magic. And then those matches with them we really felt the crowd get behind us and we really earned their respect. They were building a ring. They were building the ring. And they were like, we just want a shot at something. And then they're the IWTV Tag Champions. You know what I'm saying? Like it's something where like Kylon's wrestling Jordan Oliver soon. Dustin just had a classic with Sammy Diaz. He's like they're out here doing the singles stuff, right? Rocking it, finding their own, and then they're going crazy with the tag champs. They're going over to West Coast Pro. They're going all over the place. You know, they're IWTV tag champs. And then they got that different element of Ichiban, the kind of fun side, the wild card, you know. And then I feel that way with me and Gabe, where we are very strictly business when we wrestle. You know, there might be times where maybe we have a little bit of humor in there, but we do not joke in there because of how much it means to us. And then you have Devin, who is the life of the party that kind of simmers us out a little bit, but when it's time to work, he knows it's time. And I just love the dynamic, and I love that we have such a New York edge to ours, where they have a very youthful, that type of generation edge to them. And anytime we step in the ring, it's crazy. So I know we're gonna do it again. It's just a matter of when and where. So we'll see. Maybe Deadlock, maybe Limits. We haven't been there yet. So they have, we're gonna see. They took on the Workhorsemen. I can't wait to see that match. We'll see.
So, working Miracle Generation, being in that Northeast, along with that comes the ability to work what has become. You mentioned the ECW arena, but right now in the Northeast, especially, you get into Massachusetts, the White Eagle. It's kind of developed its own reputation of being this ridiculous, like, it's almost developed this, like, cult following and lore behind what they're doing up there. How electric is the White Eagle when you come through that curtain?
There's no audience like beyond a wrestling open audience. The they are so understanding of the sacrifice that we do to ourselves and for them. Um, and they give it right back though. If it's raining outside, snowing outside, they're out there waiting to get in. If there's a it's in Massachusetts, right? So there's a Patriots game going on. If there's if there's if there's a Celtics game going on, if there's they're still there. You know what I mean? It's something where they've made us believe, and we become like a family in a sense. But we still keep that line of fandom and professionalism, and that's what I think makes the show really work. Where they feel close to us, they're able to talk to us after the shows. They see us, limping around sometimes. They see some people every week. Wrestling Open, they just murdered Wrestling Open tonight. Andy Brown and Gabe, they just went crazy. I just saw some highlights. They went off. It's something where a lot of times Wrestling Open, it invites a lot of people for the first time seeing wrestling, and the talent that's on that show. Imagine your first time seeing wrestling ever, and you got Leo Rush on the card, you got Gabe Sky on the card, you got Miracle on the card, you got Desmond on the card, you got other people, you got Anthony Green on the cards. You have so many random, but also a lot of the same people. You got guys like Big Bacon holding it down. You got guys like you got Alec Price. You got, I know I'm gonna once I start name dropping, I know I'm gonna start forgetting people, so I'm just gonna stop. But they have such, like you said, a cult following because they believe in each individual, and then they believe in the product because the product gives back to them by literally killing themselves every week, and then they get to see it just like a TV show. They get to go to it, they get to watch stories unfold. And again, when it's in their control, in a controlled setting where they can do that, when they know the audience is a returnable audience, where they know that they can buy into what we're doing, the shows are so much better because it's not just a one show, then you come back and all of a sudden the guys that hated each other last week are tag team. And no, it's like, no, these are month, sometimes yearly storylines that are coming out. And it's just a beautiful thing for the guys to learn that aspect of it, the guys and girls, but also for the fans to experience their own kind of SmackDown Raw type of thing, and watch us grow. A lot of times people grow and go through the ranks and they leave. And a lot of times people, whatever circumstances, they come back and the love is the same because no one ever acted like they were too good for the White Eagle, too good to be there. They knew that if you were good, you went to the White Eagle. And it's gotten a cool aura, like you said, almost like a historic place almost for wrestling. And exactly, I think it could have a feel like an ECW arena in the sense where careers are being made at the White Eagle right now.
Let's keep
You
moving
know.
up that coastline a little bit and move into Limitless. When you get up into Maine, I mean, you're further north than just about anybody else in the states right there. Is there a distinct difference when you get that close to Canada in the crowds versus coming down to Boston or going down to New York or being down further down on that East Coast? Do you see a difference when you get that far north?
Yeah, because it's funny because going to Maine. I live in Florida now, so we talk about like it's the opposite coast. You know what I'm
Other
saying?
end
Like
of the
on
country
the
for you
opposite end.
now.
Yeah, right. And so what I think that's been so great for us is that we come in with such a different type of attitude than the lifestyle that's up there. We're coming out. We're coming out to Little Wayne. We're coming out. We got, we're tanned first of all. So we're tanned. I mean, he's Puerto Rican. I'm Korean, Hawaiian. You know what I'm saying? In that sense, we're just like we automatically boom. You're different. I got my hair braided. He's out there like long. We both got long black hair. No one really has long black hair. You know what I mean? In the crowd there, like, certain tats. I got tattoos. We got bright. Sometimes bright colors, but just intense presence. A very, I can only say, that the Northeast New York, like edge in that sense of that attitude where you only get it there and you can't fake that. It's either, I mean, every country, every state and country, they all have their own swag, but if someone's from New York, I mean, you come in like, okay, like he's, yeah, yeah. So we bring that to them, but then we also showcase the style where we engage with them. We're saying, yeah, we're different, but we're the same because we're here for the exact same thing. We love wrestling. And our first match, man, against Shoot Crew, we were heels. Like I'm gonna like not like kick your kid's chair out heels like. And when that match was done, everyone was on their feet saying, "Please come back." We were sticking the middle finger at them, and they were like, "Yo, please come back." That was powerful. We were like, that was even when it was happening, we were like for Shoot, we were like, "This is crazy." Like we literally told them to go fuck themselves. You know what I mean? And they were like, "Please come back." So that right there was like we're when you was oh like this is cool. And then they kept bringing us back. We had Workhorsemen. That was insane. I technically got the flu that night afterwards. I had like 105 feet for like 4 days. It was crazy. It wasn't, I never got the flu before, so it was terrible. And I always know, and that match too, they were behind us 1000%. They were so happy for that match. Then that's where we felt like people bought tickets to see that match. That meant a lot to us. And then we came back. We versed Aaron Rourke and Ricky Smokes. They're awesome too, and we feel like we tore the house down with that too. And then when it came time for MSP, we set the tone already in the last show, and now it was like these were their guys, and we are coming in with an attitude of like, no, we're their guys, and now we physically felt them be torn between the two of us, and that was like, no, this is wrestling right now. This is good. This is good to that we can generate this, and then we won. So technically, we under a year we became the top tag team in the company, and that doesn't happen unless the fans believe in that. So again, to answer your questions, like you have your assumptions about where you go in certain states, in certain states, in certain areas, and you don't know how you're going to be received. You don't know how they're going to be, and at the end of the day, you're going to a wrestling show. Everyone there loves wrestling, so it's like that one commonality that always is going to solve any prior prejudice, right or wrong. It's gonna shatter through any sort of doubt or differences, because the similarity is so strong that not only are we gonna do our best to entertain the fans as a performer, and that's just the drug that we want, but as a spectator, them giving us a chance to show them what we got because they love and respect wrestling so much. So that mutual respect, that unspoken respect, created a bond where they're trying to cut back from intermission, and we're still talking to people and signing stuff where no one knew who we were when we came in. So that's just a testament to just one, never judge a book. That's just obvious, but also just like how great the Limitless fans are, and then just the New England fans in general. They are incredible.
So DPW, you above the rest, MSP. You guys had a tag team title number one contenders match. It wasn't even for the belt. You weren't the main. Like,
Mhm.
going into a match where you end up tearing the roof off the place and giving us the match of the night, do you go into a match like that with MSP knowing you're going to have the match of the night? Can you just feel it going into it? Because when I watched the tape back, I was like, that could have been the main on any other show. And you guys just went out there and just tore it down. Do you go into a match like that with MSP knowing that's what you're about to do?
Oh man, I mean, I feel like that's got to be the mentality for everybody at all times, no matter when you're on the card, but not being selfish with it. You know what I mean? Like you don't want to go over your time. You don't want to, you don't want to take anyone's stuff. You don't want to, you know, do something insane to where now you can't top it because then that also limits, the build up of the show, and how a show is very much like a match in the sense where the match needs to have ups and downs. So does a card. So does the show in general. You need to feel mini waves within the big waves. And um, we've never wrestled them before. We've seen their work. They've seen ours. We've always gotten along with them. We did that. We did the triple threat tag, and it was cool. We didn't really get to touch too much though, as much as we wanted. So it was kind of there's other elements in there, and it was our debut, it was their debut, so it was a lot of different type of tension and pressure. But once the staff was like thumbs up all around type of thing after that debut, when the fans were like, oh man, I drove X amount of hours, blah blah blah. This was, you know, then we were like, okay, now we're coming into this place where we feel a little more comfortable, and we also have things to prove too as a tag team. You know what I mean? And again, that duality, that mirror effect in wrestling that happens a lot of the times. We have a lot of similarities, us and MSP. Um, when we're in the ring together, it's kind of cool. You sit back and we check a lot of boxes in terms of minorities in there. And it's a beautiful thing that none of that had to be addressed. It just was. And that wrestling was the theme. And to have those matches without any sympathy, like without any sympathy views of like, oh, we got a black and white kid, we got a white kid, we got Puerto Rican, we got Asian, and this is great. We got what I mean, we got Hispanic ref. This is insane. Instead of having those elements be a part of the story, having it just be a beautiful reality that like, pay attention. We're rocking. And we knew we were heading into something with Limitless with them. And again, as luck would turn out, we just got to have them at DPW, and we're like, this is gonna be great. And I think very rarely you have the same matches all the time. I remember like, um, I know, and probably in documentaries too, but I remember like in like Eddie Guerrero's book, he talks about like matches he's had with like Dean Malenko and stuff, and how like they would do it all over. Like they would do the same match everywhere, and it was something where it was like, that's awesome because it's like a comedian with their hour and their tour. You might even seen it on Netflix, but I still want to see it. And the fact that we're gonna be hopefully seeing them again in many other places, and if not the same places, this is a nice organic little feud and story that we can really build off to make something bigger than it was ever supposed to be. So that's what we're looking forward to, for real.
In wrestling, relationships are very important. Be it somebody you met on the road, somebody you met in a locker room, somebody you've developed with. You and Gabe and Desmond, you talked about how important the relationship is that you guys have had. You and Dez also just had a huge rivalry in Remarkable. Y'all kind of passed that Riot Championship back and forth. There was a great story being told there. Does the ability to tell a great story in the ring, is that a direct reflection of how tight you guys are behind the curtain?
Um, yeah. For me at least, I feel that it's so much of an easier story to tell because it's always a way to kind of add reality into it. I talk about how I took credit for Desmond's success in wrestling and how the big boofa is because of me. I put that in the match. I talk about it. Very real for me to say that, and very real for me to take a side of the bitter side of what that could have been if I was somebody else or had a different mindset towards it. I've seen movies and TV shows where you have a guy who, you make a star and then the star acts like he doesn't know you anymore, and that cynical part where that never really happened. You just took it that way. And sometimes people forgetting, who was there for you when no one else was. So playing that card, um, and and again, like having a championship on the line, and having that be, and then at that home fed is something where we knew we could make something special when no one, not that people didn't think, but we had to make it special. It did that. We didn't have to, we couldn't hide behind a name to build it. We couldn't hide behind, oh, well, everyone goes to this venue. No, we had to be like, we have to make it special. And I think we did that no holds barred match we had was one of my favorite matches I've ever had, because it's a rare time where I wasn't thinking about how I was perceived, I guess. In a way, it was kind of just like I'm having the time of my life, having a real duality of my real emotions and my character blending together to make something work, where I didn't have to think about what I wanted to do next. It just happened. If you even asked me probably what happened in that match, I couldn't tell you unless I just saw the highlights. Like, that was autopilot for both of us, and that's something that we both need as we rise to the ranks of things, where we need to be able to, there will be days and times where a flight gets delayed, and you're in sweatpants and your music's playing, and you gotta get changed in 2 seconds and go out there and entertain, and make people want you to come back. And that's something where, I think all performers need to be able to think on their feet in that way, and then being able to practice that and then succeed at it is something that and have a match that means something too, with the stakes in it. I think that's something that was able for us to make like a really, really good story happen. And again, the goal to steal the show, regardless of who's on after, and who's supposed to steal the show. you know
So let's talk about you stylistically now. We've talked about a
yeah.
lot of other people. We've talked about your career. You're the Concrete Dragon. You're a black belt, jiu-jitsu, kickboxing. How are you continuing to evolve your style since the last time I talked to you? With
It's
everything
really,
that you do.
yeah, no, it's really just tapping into what that moniker kind of means to me, and how I really want to live my life in that ring. I think I was always used to be afraid because of like the knowledge in martial arts. I feel like things that I wanted to do, my opponent wouldn't know how to perceive it or how to understand. So I would almost not hide it, but I would almost simplify it too much to where it looks like everyone else's version of their karate. And I was like, if I know specific things that other people do not like, that they don't, I just got to make it. I got to pro wrestling style it and make it matter so people can see what I'm doing. Um, so getting comfortable with that, understanding my limitations of saving my body for certain things in certain matches. Um, Ever since my injury, I've wrestled a lot differently. I don't, you won't see me running, jumping out of the ring, 50 times, or maybe even at all, to be honest, just for the simple fact of I know that I can make something matter more if I don't do that. Not that people should stop doing it. You know what I'm saying? Like, people, are amazing at what they do, especially the high flyers. But I know that I don't. If I can provoke the same emotions doing less, and knowing that my body is going to be safe and I can execute something, it makes the gears turn better. It makes the matches more situational for me, which is where I think I strive in. Where I don't really like headlock, drop down, leapfrog. To me, that's unsituational. If I see you jump in the air, I'm gonna kick you. I'm gonna kick you. If I see an ankle there, I'm gonna rip it off. I'm not gonna, I don't care how tall you are. If you're there, it's gonna, whatever is gonna happen is gonna happen. So I think that it works better with how I kind of perceive fighting in general and situations, and being able to kind of, think on my feet, um, but have it make sense, and then have it complement with Gabe also, because the way that I wrestle in singles matches is very different than how I wrestle in tag matches. So that's a cool thing too that we've learned, and having to, be able to do both, and have different styles. I feel like when Above the Rest comes together, our mind just kind of spirals into just how can we destroy somebody today? Like, that's kind of like what goes into our heads. Whereas, like, as we look at highlights, it's funny. It's kind of, I use Gabe as a weapon a lot. Like, I kind of just throw him into things. Um, but these are all amazing ideas that are crazy, that have happened when I moved away. When I moved out of New York, car rides that we would have, or even some phone calls, we would come up with some of our best shit that you've seen. Um, and I think it's not only the bond that we have, but also the forcing of us to having to think different because of where we want to go, people we've talked to, um, uh, accomplishments that we've had, things we've already seen, and things we haven't seen yet, and being able to have that open dialogue of knowing that we trust each other is has been huge in our move sets. I used to never do kicks and chops, and I was like, why? I got the fastest feet in the game. Why would I not do it? So that's been bigger for me. I want to definitely execute my power more, in the sense where I'm like really strong. Like sometimes I don't look like it and stuff like that, but I casually like go crazy in the gym. Like I'll work out with people that are pretty big, and like I'll be hanging with them, not realizing that I'm hanging with them all the time. I just kind of just put work in. Like now I've been very educated. I've since then become a personal trainer, so I've been certified. I've been educated in a lot of things of certain workouts and movements and functionality, but these are things where I guess I didn't, not that I'm hiding, but I guess things that don't always come to mind. Like my mind doesn't always go to power bombs. I'm thinking, what if I twisted your neck this way and made you, and like made things more visually disgusting, because I feel like I see so many power bombs, but I've always wanted power bombs someone. So I might do that this week for sure.
All right, Tristan.
Just to
This is a question I didn't ask you the first time, but it's become one of my favorite questions. Okay? And
yeah.
I have this gut feeling. I know you're about to blow my mind with your answer. So we're gonna hop in a time machine. We're gonna go
Okay.
back before Gabe, before anything, all the way back. Day one, night one, match one. And you walk up to Tristan behind the curtain before that first match. What advice do you give that man sitting here today?
Oh man. I'd be like, I would probably tell him, I say it's gonna happen anyway. In the sense, you know what I mean? Like that's something that I've actually even told some of my other peers, like at like some remarkable shows and stuff. If they're nervous, it's like your gear's on, like your family's outside, like it's not gonna not happen. And it's and those were things that I begun to kind of tell myself that I definitely wish I knew day one, which was, and I think it was just that simple. Like it's gonna happen. It's like you're not, and that thing too is like you're not about to suck. You've never sucked at anything. So I mean, in the sense where like you don't allow yourself to just stop if you're not good at something. You're gonna get good at it, or you're gonna try. And also, it's like you've wanted this your whole life. What the hell are you nervous about? Like separate the two. Are you nervous? Or are you passionate and you care about what the outcome is gonna be? Don't be scared. Scared means you're unsure. You got fucking spandex on. You're sure. You know what I mean? Like it's like you. This is like a 3-step process here. Like you're sure. You didn't get in those pants for no reason. Um, and the thing is like you're not about to be whack out there. Like why would you allow yourself to be whack at this? So that was the thing too, where it was like it seems like, oh, easier said than done, but I looked at it like it was that simple. It was like you're not about to be whacked. There's too many people watching. Like what you're not about to embarrass yourself. So what are you worried about? And that was a big thing where I don't think I can ever really say what makes me nervous, because I do still feel like I get the same amount of butterflies today than I did that first day. And I was wrestling my trainer, and I was really comfortable. I was wrestling Kono. Me and him, we went like 25 minutes. It was ridiculous. I had so much fun. That match was crazy, and the footage is not up anymore, and I gotta find it because it was a
I would
good
love to
ass
see
match,
that
man.
match.
It was a good ass match, man. I had no idea who I was, man. Um,
Well,
that's a good question too, bro.
I,
That's a
I,
good
I
question.
always love that answer. And a lot of my interviews these days, I use the same formula. Because I
Yeah,
talk to so many indie guys now, so I use the same
yeah,
formula with them.
yeah.
You coming in the second time, it was a little bit easier. It's like that awkward first dates out of the way. Like I was like, I
Oh
know me and
yeah,
Tristan can talk, so
yeah,
I'm not worried about filling an
yeah.
hour. That's not going to be a problem.
Oh
Um,
man, oh, man.
but, however, the ending is always the same. I re-listened to ours, so I've got 5 random. This time's 5 completely different. I've got yours queued up. You ready?
All right, y'all, I'm ready.
Question number 1. Do you think a hot dog is a sandwich?
No, that's a crazy question.
Just absolutely not, just hard no.
Hard no. Hard no. There's elements to a sandwich, man. That's like, I don't know. That's like yeah, no, that's not the same thing, man. That's not the same thing.
Question number 2. The first time you were here, I asked for your favorite food. This time, I want to know what's your least favorite food?
Oh man, my least favorite food. Um, is I think it's cilantro. I think I got that gene where cilantro smells like soap, or it tastes
It's an
like soap,
allergy, actually, where it
or an
tastes like
allergy.
soap in
Oh,
your
so
mouth.
yeah, so
Yeah.
yeah, so I got that. So I guess that would be my only one because I feel like I like everything, or at least I have. Or if I have my least favorite food, maybe I haven't tried it yet. But right now it's that, and it's upsetting because I love Mexican food. I love like it's terrible.
Question number 3. I'm going to put you on the spot here. You're a New York guy. Do you
Mm,
prefer East Coast hip hop or West Coast hip hop?
East Coast. It's just I mean Jada Kiss is my ringtone. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Like no,
Enough said.
I mean
Yeah.
West Coast, man. Damn, I gotta go East Coast, man.
I usually
Yeah.
ask Biggie or Pac with that one, but I feel like it's a bigger question than just Biggie or Pac in a lot of ways. But East Coast, West Coast. Question number 4. Who is your current favorite musical artist that you're listening to?
Oh man, current favorite musical artist, man. Um, sh- he's in prison right now. So free Sue Surf. He's probably my favorite rapper right now, man. He is someone who um his because I love battle rap, and that's kind of how I found a lot of this music too. But it's something where I think because I'm poisoned from battle rap, I can only take certain substance with music depending like what kind of mood I'm in when I'm listening to it. But as far as like on like a daily basis, I listen to Sue Surf every single day. I listen to a lot of music, a lot of different types of music, but Sue Surf is probably like someone I listen to every single day for sure. Yeah.
Also, in your first 5, I asked for your favorite foods. You said pizza was one of them. So I'm going to ask you, it's another New York based question. If you can't have New York style pizza, what's your next go to style pie going to be?
Oh man, yours. I was gonna say Sicilian, but I've been liking grandma pizza lately. Maybe because I've been like, because I, you know, trying to eat, you know, I say trying to eat better, having a whole fucking pizza, but like, you know, but no, like margarita pizza, or was it grandma pizza? I think that's what it's called. My mom got it once, and I was like, this is mad good. Now and me and my wife have been getting it, so it's been,
Just like the
yeah,
tomatoes and the mozzarella and the basil, just real
yeah. It's just I
basic.
don't know. Yeah, it's super basic. I don't know what's wrong with me. I didn't like that question. I don't,
Make you question. The first half was the easy part. The last 5 made you
yeah,
question your
yeah,
existence.
yeah.
All right,
Mess me
Tristan.
up.
This is everybody's favorite part because I shut the hell up and don't say anything. Put yourself over. Tell everybody where to find you and Gabe, what you guys have coming up, what's going on. Plug yourself, man.
Oh man, hell yeah! So, man, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Tristen Thai. I think Instagram is different. It's at Tristen underscore Thai underscore, and Twitter is at Tristen Thai. Um, man, you can catch Gabe Sky. I'm gonna get his handles wrong, but if you search Gabe Sky on Instagram and Twitter, you're gonna find him. Facebook too, YouTube. We have a lot of matches on YouTube now that Limitless Beyond have uploaded. Um, other than that, man. We got man remarkable wrestling Saturday. If you're in Long Island, New York, Jersey area, man, come through. It will be on IWTV. I'm not exactly sure when. I want to say maybe a few days after this after the show. And then on Sunday night we got well, man, we got Beyond Wrestling. I take on Fancy Ryan Clancy. It's going to be a show. Um, I'm going to body this guy, man. Man. It's gonna be a good match though, man. Ryan Clancy is for real. He wrestled Zack Sabre Jr. a few shows ago. It was insane, and I'm looking to get into that thing with him, man. I'm ready. So check it out, man. Remarkable Wrestling and Beyond Wrestling this weekend. It's gonna be a movie.
Tristan, man, it's always a pleasure when our paths cross, and I knew this was going to be a hell of a conversation, so I'm glad we got to knock it out, man.
Yeah, man. No, it's good catching up with you, man. We gotta do part 3, man. We're gonna have it's gonna be a ridiculous amount of series, but like episode 30. We're gonna make our own podcast.
Dude, I've been tossing around the idea of finding a wrestler that wanted to do a talk show with a silly Mark who knows too much. So don't tempt me.
No, listen. I would even be down to do like a watch along. I would be down to do something where like we kind of even break things down from your perspective, my perspective. I think we can do a lot of things, man. I just bought a puppy, so we're gonna need to figure out some time. He's getting a little bit older, but we're gonna workshop it.
Hell yeah, it'll be like the wrestling version of Skip and Shannon.
Yes, yeah. That's smart, bro.
I like it.
That's smart. Maybe you should clip that end off so people don't steal it, because that's never been done. I don't think.
I like it. That's us. Everybody stop watching now. No.
Yeah,
All right.
exactly.
But for the Concrete Dragon Tristen Thai, I am the Will Gray. Thanks for stopping by and listening, my people.